What is crashing in project management? In this video, I'm going to talk to you about really not very well-known term, but a term that's specific to CPM and what it is and what you should really know about it. You've got to know the consequences of crashing in construction. And so I'm going to share all of that, all of the details that you'll need to know so you can assess and decide what you want to do on your project. This is crucial. If you're interested in that, please stay with us on this video. Okay, so let's talk about crashing. And when I'm talking about crashing, I'm not talking about you, which I know is super fun, hopping on to Instagram or TikTok and seeing a video of cars crashing or bumper cars or anything else like that. I am talking about crashing activities. In project management, crashing is the process of accelerating an activity by adding more resources. To be honest, that sounds great. Like, let me just be super open and transparent with you. If that actually worked, there may be some motivation behind it, but the problem is that it doesn't. And I'm going to explain that in this video right now. You know that I'm not a CPM fan. I'm not here to bore you with the details of that. You've seen my other videos. You know that CPM is one of the most destructive methods in all of construction. It's the biggest mistake. Like, lobotomies were the biggest mistake in the medical field in the last century, and CPM is the biggest mistake in construction in the current century, and it's getting worse. Here's my point. In CPM, the critical path method, to be clear, that method increases work in progress above the capacity of resources. It trades stacks, trade burdens, and the critical path leaves you with no float and no buffers for you to handle delays or impact. And so all of the burden is put on people. So I do not like CPM. And crashing an activity is what CPM will tell you to do to an activity that's on the critical path. So it will say, okay, here's your critical path. There's no float, mind you. There's no buffers built into the system, and your scheduling consultants and your owner will not allow you to. Even if you're like, J Money, I put buffers, I put contingency in my critical path. That's illegal. Like, you're not allowed to do that. And if you are going to submit a claim, it has to be a true critical path. So we can all talk about all this fluffy stuff and like think that it means this or that. But when it comes to you going into arbitration, you talking to lawyers, super scary, you talking to your owner, you going through a third-party scheduling consultant and actually having these things audited, you get no float, you get no buffers. And on your critical path, what your owner, maybe your company and you, but at least your owner and definitely the scheduling consultants will tell you to crash the activities along that path. So crashing the path means that we're going to use resources to recover that path because it's supposedly our critical path. And what that basically means is we're going to add extra labor, we're going to add extra crews, we're going to work overtime, we're going to bring out more materials out on site, we're going to throw money at the problem, and we're going to rush and push and panic. Well, I've already told you in previous videos, and you know me, that that's only going to hurt you, because here's what happens. And let's just talk about just one of the aspects, because there's really three. There's waste. When you start to overproduce, actually I'm starting to talk about all of them. You overproduce, which causes excess inventory, which causes transportation motion defects, overprocessing, waiting, and not using the genius of the team, okay? So if you're overproducing through crashing, you've experienced the 8 wastes and everything is going to slow down. The other one is Murray and Murrah. Murray is the overburden of resources. And so that's the one that I really want to hit on, which is if you add too much work in progress to, and those are Japanese words, I apologize, but basically it's overburden and unevenness. So Murray and Murrah. When you overburden resources and you have too much work in progress, what you're doing is saying to humans, hey, go do all of this work. And it's definitely a problem because they can't do it. And once you've had people, they're not onboarded. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. And then team sizes increase. And once team sizes increase, you have additional complexity in communication. You have more context switching, which slows you down, which means you have more batching outside of one-piece flow. And then because everything starts to slow down, you add more people And when you add more people, like I said, the crew composition changes, your foreman supervisory abilities change, the language of the crews change, and you start to like really spiral out of control from a productivity standpoint. And then you try to recover, oh, maybe overtime will help. Well, the US federal government found out that overtime only hurts you. And in the meantime, everybody is like trying to do it, but you're fatiguing the crews. And that means that they're not focused on quality, which means that you have rework, which means that it at least takes 8 times as long to accomplish that thing because of the rework, and it's 8 times as expensive. And now you've taken your focus off preparing work and removing roadblocks, which at that point you just spiral out of control. So people think that, oh, I'm going to add labor, I'm going to add crews, I'm going to work overtime. That's a fix. It's a one-for-one productivity. No, it's not. Because of batching, context switching, higher team sizes, and the fact that they're not familiar with the project, those things will put you into a productivity spiral, and it will extend everything, all of your durations, which creates the third one that I was talking about, which is MURA, which is unevenness, which is basically you have lots of stops and restarts. So this is detrimental. Let me just summarize this for just a little bit. Adding additional labor and crews above needed levels late in the game is called Brooks's Law. It's only going to hurt you. Working overtime only fatigues the crew, and after week 6 really hurts you in an exponential is really the only way I would say it. And then throwing money at the problem is a complete waste. Bringing out all of the materials too soon is only going to get in people's way and cause those other 8 wastes that I already talked about. And then rushing, pushing, and panicking are only going to hurt. And it's a myth. Instead of human beings doing better because they're in a rush, they have worse decision making, worse morale. They start hiding things. Human behavior takes a turn and productivity goes down the drain. If the devil was real or is real, that is what he would tell you to do, is crash activities, because he wants to hurt you. So you see on Looney Tunes cartoons, you see like shoulder angel and the shoulder devil. The angel is going to be like stabilize, like focus on flow, clear roadblocks, enable the system. But your shoulder devil is going to say crash activities. And that's the only thing that CPM will tell you to do. And it's the worst thing on earth that you can do. And if you actually did have a critical path, which CPM has no way of knowing, I can link you to other videos if you want, that would be the worst thing to do to it. Because as soon as you start to rush and push and panic on that activity, it's going to extend, and your whole impossible path is what I'll call it, is going to extend as well. You're probably like, J Money, okay, I got it. But like, what should we do? If you want to go faster, you've got to make sure that you put it into a production plan. You've got to have the zoning properly. You have to get rid of zone bottlenecks and trade bottlenecks, which says nothing bad about trade partners. You've got to actually start designing to the work package. You've got to implement the last planner system. You've got to start involving the trades. All of these basic things, stability. And it goes back to the definition of lean. Respect for people, nature, and resources, stability and standardization, working in one-piece flow, flowing together on attack time, visual systems with total participation, and quality and continuous improvement. That's how you go fast. So this is the truth about crashing activities in construction project management, and you should never do it. And one of the things, this is so good. I've listened to this book like 18 times. And yes, it's my book. I haven't listened to my other books 18 times. It's just that good. It's called The 10 Myths of CPM. We're going to link it to you in the description below, and you're going to love it. Please check it out. I hope you've loved this video. On we go.